Welcome to another edition of Life and in Between. This is going to be a little different because today's guest has a very interesting role in our world. But just to kind of start breaking this in, imagine you walk to your garage or you go downstairs to get a cup of water. And when you turn on the light, what do you see? A roach standing there staring at you. And the roach says, "What's up?" And you freeze. And then the roach starts to move around and walk. What is happening? The roach, if you're in Texas, it flies at you. And oh my gosh, you scream and you run. And who do you call? You're going to call Steve Gonzalez because he is the one who's going to save the day. He's the one that's going to exterminate, eradicate, and dedicate that body corpse of a roach to the winds of the world. So on today's show, we are talking with a very special hero to us all. He has got a very interesting story to share, and we have questions to ask. But Steve eradicates those pests and those rodents. So please help me welcome our hero, Steve Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Steve. It is such a pleasure to have you on. I'm just going to actually just do a quick background bio on you so people know a little bit more about you. So, Steve, I know that you spent like the past 20 years battling like the true underworld city life of roaches, rodents, bedbugs, wildlife, and every creepy-crawly in between. I mean, like these little nasty little things. As an urban inner-city exterminator and owner of Edie's Pest Control in New York City, Steve has turned pest control into both an art, and yes, I said art, and science. His specialty isn't just eliminating infestations, it's educating communities, and that's very important, and showing people how pest control is about public health and quality of life. From roaches that act like they pay rent to rats that, have subway passes, season subway passes. Steve's seen it all, and he's just as passionate about sharing preventive tips for all of our listeners and community education as he's about clearing out these unwelcome guests. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm super, super excited to be here. First of all, I want to thank you, Diana. I want to thank you, Patrick, for having me here as a guest, because and you pretty much, you summed it up a lot. It's a career that a lot of people don't even think about, or if they do, they want to run away from it as fast as, probably some of these roaches and mice run as well. Because it's something dirty. You go into places where a lot of people don't go in there for years, attics, basements, garages, things that have been stored for years, and there's people, or things I should say, living in those places. And so, and it's a career that's it's dying in a sense of, because a lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to do that dirty work. They don't want to, and it's very lucrative, for anybody that's listening, that that wants a career, that wants to make some good money and have a business. It's ideal. But thank you, guys. I definitely want to thank you. And also, you've reminded me, it's been 20 years. Oh my God. Yes. Dealing with with these pests, urban inner city technician that exterminates this. And it's one of these cities that you're gonna find pretty much almost anything and everything that you can think of when you think about exterminating. Up on to the suburbs, down to the inner city, you're gonna find a little bit of everything. But I personally do specialize in the inner city pests, with down to commercial, down to Miss Ann that has a problem in her house, down to a small matchbox of an apartment that's in the city. So Yeah,
You're like
it's
the Ghostbuster for every
oh my
rodent.
God,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
When I'm with my uniform and everything, yes, I feel like I'm a Ghostbuster.
Oh, that is awesome. And so I want to ask, the first thing is, how did you get into this? Well, did you have an experience that you're like, I will destroy every creature out there? Like, what got you on this journey?
Yeah, it's funny you hit that question because it does hit really home. Because when I was I would say I think I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I lived in a with my mother, and with my family, and I woke up one day with my ear just pounding. It was just pounding. I didn't know what it was. It was just hurting. I got fever, and then my mother, my parents, they took me to the local, physician, to the doctors. And long to behold, I remember, like, I just get goosebumps when I think about it, but I had a roach that was inside my
Ah,
ear. And when the doctor pulled it, I like
no.
I said, I just remember like it was yesterday. He pulled it out, and I felt like the suction just kind of pop out, that warm sensation. And when I looked at the doctor, I saw his expression. I'm like, what? He's like, oh my God, you have a dead roach in your ear.
No.
So I vowed to kill any roach in that house. So
No.
is it something that I guess pushed me to it? Yes, yes. It was a personal experience that I'd had that made me want to start exterminating, even at a young age, believe it or not. I remember, playing with ants and, in front of the house and trying to, and I shouldn't be saying this, but probably lighting them with matches and stuff. I was a little
I use a
kid,
magnifying glass. I
Yeah,
used to use a
yeah, and it was
magnifying
just
glass.
light them up, but it was back then just fun, but I didn't know that it was, I guess, leading me towards the
Mm,
path and the journey that I'm actually doing now.
mm.
And I want to make the difference in these households and where we eat. And I say we, you, me, everybody, people that are listening, eat in some of these restaurants and they don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So I'm
Oh,
there really to come and help people out that probably don't even know me,
yeah.
don't know that what's really going on. But I want you guys, believe it or not, and my side cliche or not, but I want the public to eat safe. I want people to be able to live in their house. You pay a lot of money, you guys, mortgage, rents, some of these slum landlords don't care, excuse me. But I want to make that difference. I want to be able to go home and sleep at night.
And I want to
And I
throw
want you
something
guys to
out.
have
Exactly what you're saying. So my 4-year-old, he was 3 at the time. He lost his toy at a Denny's, and so I went back to this Denny's to look for his toy. And so I got a flashlight and started going through all the
Oh
booths.
my God.
And oh my gosh, I like the first one, and I just see roaches running through. I'm like, are you kidding me? What in the world?
Yes.
And I need to go to church. Bye.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. So just imagine that, and probably, I don't know, 10 times. As soon as I put down my poison, you're just seeing things that were just walking around. Just imagine for everyone that you see there, you're gonna see it probably, there's probably 50 behind that one. So
And
it's,
let me
I mean,
ask you
it's
this too. Because this is a perception. Is it, you say they'll infestate anywhere, so it's not just like, the slums and the, cochino sucio dirty houses, but it could be the pristine upper class
oh my
beautiful
God.
places.
Oh my God. I've gone into 5-star hotels on Park Avenue, Fifth
Mm,
Avenue, New York City. I won't say names, obviously, that are
Denny's.
infested with bed bugs. So yes, you're 100% right on that. Now, does sanitation and all that? Of course, it plays a big part. If you leave the dishes there for a week without washing them, yes, of course they're going to come through the pipes, and I tell all of my customers it is a 50-50 percentage. If you do the 50% and just clean the house, prepare the house for me to come in. That 50%, leave that other 50% up to me. I'll put it in the right places, the right amount, and the right chemical. And that's really, I mean, I say this because, I've been doing this for so long. But it's a combination of a lot of things. And I just feel like the public or, future exterminators should know this and should be able to learn from, even if it's with listening to you guys and hearing me, I might inspire somebody now. At least I know that I tried and I'm doing the very best I can to help, everybody else out.
Sorry, Diane. I'm stealing this whole thing. Okay, so
It's okay. It's okay.
it's because it's so fresh. We moved back to our. This was a rental property. Then we moved back because we couldn't sell it. And so about a week ago, I'm just walking in, get into the hallway downstairs, and there's just this. Not even a cucaracha, not just a roach, like those big water bugs. The
Yeah, the
ones.
water bugs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
he's just sauntering on, and I'm in shock, and I'm just like, should I squash him? Do I vacuum him up? And I just wanted to see where he was going, and he just walked like he owned the place, and then he crawled through the door. I'm like, he fit through the door. I thought I sealed it, and so I'm like, he's probably going to the trash that we keep in the garage. That's it, and I'm just like, but we use these little things, these little. Can't see it. The little roach bait, they get the German roaches maybe, but the roach is like this size. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna fit in this thing.
He's gonna fit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing about these water bugs. And this is just for your education, your purpose. In other words, since you went through it personally, I know it's gonna sound, it's big, it's the ugly ones, it's scary, but honestly, those are the ones you rather have in your house versus a German roach. It's like I always say that big water bug is like that. That big bully that tries to just run into the wall when you were growing up, and he just did not stop, and he kept going and going and trying to. I'm in a hardhead. They just don't. They don't reason. They'll go on the glue traps without knowing. Versus German roaches are their survival. They're a lot stronger, but the water bug is gonna die on its own. Versus me coming in, because where they live, these water bugs, they got to have a lot of moisture. They're in pipes, sewerage. Once they come out on land where we are, they're gonna dry out. So 9 out of 10 times, either you saw it walking, but give it about maybe 4 hours, they dry out and they turn over on their back. So you'll see them a lot of places in garages, or they'll be dead already. Now, if you call me, we'll kill them faster, but you'd rather have the water bugs than the German roaches. I'll definitely tell you that.
Yes.
What? They're tough cookies.
That's crazy. All right, Deanna, I'm triggered right now. Like,
oh yeah.
So let me ask you, because I mean, like, you're talking about these little pests that I'm like so utterly disgusted by, but how do you balance that ick factor with professionalism when you're in someone's home? When you go into someone's home, I imagine that you see some really sightful things. How do you balance that?
It's I mean, at first, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. It's tough. Especially if you it's tough because especially if you come from, I guess from my own, personal life, you come from a household where, we cleaned and we kept everything nice and tidy, and I felt that everything, was good. And you walk into somebody's house and you look and there's garbage everywhere, piles, papers, last week's Chinese food that has the air just with a mustard smell to it, and you're trying to help these people out, but you go in there and you feel like sometimes they're not helping themselves out without the sanitation, so it makes it hard. But to answer the question, to balance it out, I go in there and I try to educate people, because sometimes, just by eradicating the problem, of course, people want to see results, and that's what you got to do. And you go there to give them results. But at the same token, if you don't educate them in a very nice, respectful, and polite way, they're not going to probably know. And they're probably going to keep having the problem, because you're just attracting the new generation of the new insects that are, wherever they're coming from around that location. So by me educating them, I feel like it's a balance. Like I've done my part, inside. As a physical balance, where I don't think you could probably ever get used to that if you've never lived there. You always go in like, oh, okay, just got to keep it professional though. But you feel it though. No matter what, you're gonna feel it because
I
I
feel
am
it right
human at the
now.
end of the
Like
day.
my whole
At the
body's
end of the day, I'm
tense.
human too.
I mean,
But
that would
you
be like
do,
a
yeah.
Halloween costume, like just have a roach hanging out of your ear. Like that
Oh,
Halloween costume would shut places down. Golly.
oh yeah. I've had some rain on me. I mean, on how bad it
No!
is. Yes, literally. I've had where I've just stomped my feet coming out of the house already, putting my stuff in the van, and I'll just stomp my boot on the floor or something. I'll have two or three just flicker down on the floor.
No!
So it's one of those. But you know what? When that happens, believe it or not, it's like for me, it's a thrill as well because for you to find these roaches, for you to really get the problem and eradicate, you got to look for the nest. And this is where sometimes, and I hate to put any other exterminate out there, but sometimes they fail on doing that because they just go in there and just put poison and just kind of do their thing really quick so that they can say that they were there and they did something. But the problem is not going to get solved, and that's what I want to do for these people that are paying a huge amount of money to these landlords and paying a lot of money to live in these conditions with rats, with roaches, with bed bugs, scabies. I mean, you name it. They have them. And some of these landlords don't care. So I try to go in there and help them with that
And
problem.
it gets pricey because so I own a few properties here in Austin, Texas. One of them is a condo, so pretty much apartment. Like New York, it's all just squished
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
Many years ago, when I lived there, I was renting out one room, and then my buddy upstairs had two rooms he was renting out, and we were all friends, and we were all just bohemian hippies. And one of our friends got bed bugs, and he came home,
Yummy.
and he was upstairs. He came home, didn't shower, nothing, and it just started spreading to the point where I told my tenant, my roommate at the time, I was like, "Do not let him in here. Do not let him in." And so then the roommate from upstairs would come downstairs and like poke her head into our door, like just like sleep deprived, like, "Hey guys, yeah, so how are y'all?" And I'm just like, "Get out of here." So what they had to do, I think he spent almost 5 grand where they sealed up the condo and cooked it, just cooked it,
Yeah.
killed everything.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways and methods that you can try to eradicate bed bugs. But yeah, you can put the oven in there and you can there's actually place things that you can get machines where you can put furniture, clothes, and the temperature is really high where it'll kill the bed bug. But we're talking a lot of cha-ching when it comes to
Yeah.
things like that. And
Oh yeah.
a lot of people, in New York City here, I'm not going to say, obviously everybody, but there are a section, a group of, people that don't have those means to pay three, four, $5,000. So I do offer a service that's definitely less expensive. And I tell all of my customers, if you don't have the money and you can't afford and buy new furniture and new mattresses, I do have a way where I can save that stuff as long as you can get over the mental part about it. Because remember, you got a mental part about it. It's the physical where you see them. And then you have the other part where it's like, Steve, they tell me, Steve, I don't physically see them, but I feel like they're still here. And I'll go in there and I'll say, okay, let me check, and I'll go and I'll look, and there is none. But it's a mental thing. Now you think that you have them because you didn't throw away your mattress or you didn't throw away your couch. So you think they might still be in here. So I try to also, educate them that it is a mental thing. So if you don't have the means and don't have the money to, buy furniture, because, if you go out, to Rooms to Go or anywhere, these furniture places, you're going to spend a lot of money just to replace this. And I've had cases where the person doesn't have bed bugs, but the person upstairs does, or the person downstairs, like you said, and they travel. So if you
Mm.
don't take care of that and you just bought your mattress for $1,000, You know, I can take that off, but that mental part is going to be there. Oh, do I got to buy another mattress now because I got it? Are they inside? Did he do the right job? Did he service her? Did he use the right chemical? I don't know. Is he an honest guy? You know, and they start going on. And then I try to edge it, because that's a part where a lot of, you know, these exterminators don't understand either. You know, they'll come in, all right, yeah, just give me $500 and I'll take care of you. But you got to educate them, let them know what's really going on, what chemical you're using, how you're doing it, how much you're going to put down. Do you have any cats or dogs, any domestic pets? Do you have a 5-year-old? Do you have a 1-year-old? Are you pregnant? I mean, there's just so many different factors that a lot of these exterminators don't do. And if there's any guys listening to me out there now, please contact me and I will explain it and teach you guys too.
Yeah, this is what I like. And sorry, Dan, I'm gonna take this one again because I want to try to get off of the intensity of this, because we'll jump back into it. But this is what I like, but I want to kind of hear your point of it. So when it comes to business, you know, and I taught entrepreneurship, and I love this phrase. It was, "P.S. I love you. You have the problem."
Hold on, yours. It paused.
Oh, it paused. I think, yeah, you froze there. Probably the roaches got us.
There you go.
Oh.
The
there you go. You're back.
Is he moving? I don't
know.
Technical
no,
yeah.
You're frozen.
They're trying
again.
to lose our communication.
I know. They're in the building. They're okay. There we go.
Okay, I can hear you fine. Okay, I hear you had cut off. I didn't hear your. I couldn't hear your question. Say that again. I couldn't.
Yeah. So there's a problem, the solution, and then the unique value. With all the exterminators out there, what would you say sets you apart? And I'm seeing a lot already, but just in your words, what is your unique value that you bring compared to all these corporate one-stop shop, the big name brands out there? What sets Steve, the Avenger, apart?
The Avenger. I like that. I might have to use that one, the Avenger. But yeah, it's definitely a combination of things. You gotta understand where you're going. You gotta, you know, talk to your customers. You have to read your labels. This is all things that, you know, that when if you go to school, you know, they teach you this stuff. But a lot of times, a lot of these other exterminators, they just go in with thinking just one thing, and that's that S with the 2 lines. That's all they go in there looking for. They hear bedbugs. Oh my God, we got the lotto ticket right here. Let's go. Let's charge them $1,000 a room. You know, who cares? So it's a very good and valid question. I do set myself apart from these exterminators because I try to balance it out as a customer. I try to you know, talk to you guys, get more information on where you got the, you know, the pest from. Is it maybe the neighbor upstairs, downstairs, at work? You know, it could be numerous places. You know, you got to do your little investigation on the situation. The pest alone also, you know, they're all different in many ways. You can't treat them all the same way. But yeah, I definitely I would say I respect and value my customers, whether you own a restaurant, own a house, properties, or you're a renter. At the end of the day, you're paying me to eradicate this problem in the right way without harming your loved ones in the house or damaging furniture where you're going to have to spend more money now because the exterminator, you know, he put this chemical where he stained my sofa or stained the walls. You know, I mean, it could be numerous things. But yeah, to answer your question, I do set myself apart because I feel like I do show.
Oh no, the roaches got him.
Again,
no!
I'm telling you, they don't want him to speak the truth.
Not Steve. Not Steve.
Oh my gosh. And like it was getting so good too. So it sounds to me like from what I'm listening, and he's back. You're back again. I'm telling
back.
you,
I'm back.
They're going after you.
They are. They want to get me. They don't want the communication.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but one thing that we can do while we get him back and all that, this is a really good time to play this video for our audience right now so that we can actually just let me know if you are able to see this.
We'll guide you through. And warning, this video may be triggering to some. I saw a clip of it and I'm ready to go baptize myself.
All right. So are you seeing
what videos pulled up?
All right. So
Did you know? Roaches have been around for over 280 million years, outlasting dinosaurs and most natural disasters. Did you know they can live up to 40 minutes without air, and even survive for a week without their heads, and they can survive high radiation levels? Did you know a cockroach can run about 3 miles per hour, which is lightning fast in bug terms? Did you know each roach egg case, oteca, is like a little suitcase packed with baby roaches? A German cockroach has 30 to 50 babies, nymphs, per case. And here's the kicker: a single female German cockroach can produce 4 to 8 oothecae in her lifetime. That's up to 400 roaches from one mama alone. Cockroaches can trigger allergies and asthma. Their shed skin, droppings, and even saliva carry proteins that can cause allergic reactions in humans. In fact, in some cities, up to 60 to 80% of urban homes have detectable cockroach allergens floating around. That's right, sometimes it's not the roach you see that's the problem, it's the invisible leftovers they sprinkle behind like confetti. Party popper, but the worst kind of confetti.
All right, so on the count of 3, everybody, let's just let it out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what? Oh,
Yes.
the sanity. They can live without their heads. They can live underwater. They are going to rule the world. They're going to rule the world.
Yes.
this is like,
I
okay,
know.
wow. So this was a job of like there's a couple of clips of some work that you have done. It looks like it was in a restaurant, or was it?
Yes, that was a restaurant. It was in New York City. Obviously, I can't mention names, but it was it's a commercial restaurant. Food. They had a problem with in the machinery. I found a nest that was in there. Commercial could be tricky. It could be really tricky. There's exterminators that only like doing commercial. There's exterminators that just like doing residential. But it is, I always tell everybody that exterminators remind me a lot like dentists. And you're probably thinking like, what do you mean like a dentist? And I say that because if you ever go to a dentist and you sit there and they start looking at your mouth and they say, okay, well, you got this, you got that, you got the other, and then he'll tell you, well, I don't extract teeth. You're gonna have to go to a specialist. I don't do root canals, but I'll do crowns. So exterminators are somewhat similar. You have guys that are specialized in roaches. You have guys that are specialized just in bed bugs. And then you have your universal, exterminator like myself that you can pretty much handle anything and everything that they put in front of you. But that's why I refer to exterminators somewhat similar to like dentists, because they specialize in certain exterminators specialize in certain things. And in this case, it was a commercial restaurant. And when I say it's a little tougher and a little more, you got to spend a little more time, because if you think of it, some of these restaurants have 3 refrigerators, they have an oven, they have a walk-in oven, they'll have a dough makers, countertops. It's just a lot more territory for you to look for any roaches, a lot more places that these roaches can nest in as well. So it's a different animal. I love it. I actually really like doing commercial places. And makes me not want to go into certain places. That's why I do like it. But it is a different animal. And in this particular case, there was a nest in that countertop, and I started putting the poison down, and it just kept coming out and just kept coming out. And that was just the beginning, I think, of, if I remember, at the beginning of of that clip that I took. But yeah, they started coming out, and yeah, it's a tough one.
Wow. So, so I know
Yeah.
we've been talking a lot about roaches. You just don't do any, like you just don't only exclusively do roaches, as you mentioned. You do like rats, mice, and everything. I kind of wanted to ask you a question
Oh
on
yeah.
rats.
Oh yeah.
Are
Yeah,
rats
definitely.
really as smart as people say? I mean, are they really smart, or is that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely not a myth, but I refer to with mice and rats. I definitely am for sure that these mice are really smart. They really are. They know where to go and where not to go. They know where to step on, not to step on. They know what to eat and not to eat. Sometimes they'll figure it out. They use mice, to in labs to test. That's they are really smart. Compared to the rat, I kind of refer to the rat as that big bully, that dumb one that just kind of just is big and just kind of like like a brute. It's with the rats, but definitely mice are super intelligent, to answer the question. Yeah, I've sometimes even still struggle with mice, how smart they are, because you got to know where to put certain things with them, what to put down, because you'll have a generation that will love that poison and they'll eat it. Then you'll have another generation that won't even look at it, and you're like, God, you'll scratch your head and be like, what do I do now? As an exterminator, you got to also kind of try to figure out, try to try to get a little smarter, be a step ahead of them as well. But to answer the question, yes, mice are super smart. Rats are a little dumber. They're a
Kind
little
of
dumber,
sad.
but
It's
yeah,
really, it's sad too.
yeah. They just big. They're big and ugly though. They are big and
Yeah.
ugly for sure, and carry tons of disease. Tons of disease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the same property where my neighbor had the bed bugs in the winter. Usually, I guess when animals are trying to get in, I mean they'll have everything from squirrels
Yeah.
up in the attics. But my place again had mice, and what was sad was we put those sticky traps, and so then they get stuck, and you're just like, what now? Do we put him out of his misery? I mean, it's gut wrenching because they're like the little mice are cute,
Yeah.
the bigger ones are,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah. Well, exactly. Right. Yeah. What I tell everybody, if you have them in your house and there's one on there, this is how smart the mice are, that if Uncle Joe is on that glue trap, and little Annie comes around and sees that Uncle Joe is there and he can't get out, I promise you, Annie's not going to get on that glue board ever. She's never going to get on it. So my advice to all of my customers is, yes, as soon as you see, hear, or smell that mouse on that glue trap, pick them up as soon as possible, because you don't want the following ones to see that, because then that glue trap it's not going to work. It really isn't, with that generation at least.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely want to put it out of it. You want to pick it up and dispose of it for sure, and put down another glue trap. But yeah, they're definitely they're very smart in that sense for sure. They definitely they'll know the difference.
Steve,
Yeah.
you shared a very funny story with me, and I just wanted you to share with the audience it was about a raccoon. I think it was a raccoon.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
remember that one. That was a funny one. I remember that one. That one I personally remember because I was in my early stages of exterminating. I had just gotten my wildlife, license and everything, and I had he was a captain, big, physically big guy, very strong looking. He was a correction officer, and I had my phone number, advertisements, plastered all around, and I get a phone call. It was a Sunday morning, and I don't technically, I didn't, back then, didn't want to work Sundays. It was a day that I chose to kind of stay home and stuff. And he called me and he says, "Hey, dude, are you working? Can you come? I have a raccoon in my backyard." And I told him, well, it's Sunday. And he's like, "Listen, dude, I don't care what it is. I got kids. It's in my backyard. My whole backyard is sealed. I don't even know how it even got in. but it's back there, and I don't want my kids there. So I'm like, okay. And I got myself to get over there. I talked to him about the prices, and he says, no worries, whatever it is, just come. So I get over there, and sure enough, yeah, the raccoon is there. And I had like an audience because the backyard faced the house, the back of other houses. So I guess this guy was well known in that neighborhood or something. And the neighbors were just pretty much yelling out the window like, "Oh my God, I can't believe, where'd you get this exterminator?" Because I pretty much got toe to toe with the raccoon, with my pullout stick with the rope at the end. And what I learned, I would put a smell right at the end of the rope so that the raccoon would kind of stay still and stand down a little. And I wrapped, when I got the stick closer to him, I wrapped it around his neck and pulled it, but I had the cage right next to me. So I'm holding the stick with the raccoon jumping all around, just, screaming and everything. And I had the cage set up so I could put him in there. But I guess I was, like I said, I was new. Not new, but it was one of my, like earlier jobs, and the trap set off and it closed on me. And I have all these people yelling in the background from the windows, like, "Oh my God, this exterminator, where did you get him? He's great. He's this and that." And I'm sweating bullets because the raccoon is jumping all around, and the trap closed on me. So you can open it, but you need two hands. And if I let the stick go, this raccoon's gonna run around with the stick around his neck trying to get away, and I'm gonna have even more of a problem. So long story short, I finally got it open, and I put the raccoon in there, put a plastic bag, because they do, when they get scared, and they're in a cage, they start using the bathroom, in other words. And that stuff really, really smells. So I put a bag over it. But yeah, I do remember that story. Brought back good memories there.
Wow.
So what would you prefer out of all three of these villains? Would you prefer the bigger rodents like raccoons, roaches, or mice? Which would you go toe to toe with, not sweat?
I mean, I enjoy doing all of them. I'm not gonna lie, I do, because it is weird to say, but it is a small adrenaline that you do get. You do get it. You do, you go out there and you're like, is he gonna bite me? Can he bite me? Can I get rabies? I mean, yeah, all these possibilities can happen, and also, I'm not, and it's not a secret either, obviously, I get paid for it, so you're there for, obviously for the monetary part. But yeah, if I had to really pick between all of them, I like wildlife a lot. I really do. I like that. I guess that rush, that drive, that, getting a raccoon, a possum, squirrels. Squirrels are that's another one too. They're really smart. Yeah, they're they'll eat up that attic. Yeah. But yeah, the wildlife is super interesting. I enjoy that a lot. I really
I
do.
could almost see if you never became an exterminator, you'd probably be like a bull rider or something. Just like
Maybe. Hey, yeah,
your
yeah.
backstory, like you're just walking through a field and this bull came at you, and that's when you knew my mission in life. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
Okay, breathe,
Yeah.
deep breath.
So, what I know there are a lot of people out there that are very budget friendly, that they cannot afford and they choose to do it themselves. And I know that in your line of field, you recommend people to go and seek a professional. And this is a two-part question.
Sure.
How do you kind of what's the best advice that you can give a customer to really figure out if this guy's really legitimate? If they can't reach you because you're in New York, um, and they're in, like, say, Texas or somewhere else, what advice would you kind of give to kind of make sure that they find that right guy, that, that can really do the job?
Okay. Well, definitely, you want to get somebody that's licensed and insured for sure. You want to make sure that they're licensed, that they have an insurance, and that when you pretty much, I guess, when you're shopping around, because that's all, at the end of the day, you're shopping around, whether it's for a car, whether it's furniture or an exterminator, you want to ask the right questions. And you definitely want to ask them, obviously, if they're licensed and insured, and if they are and they're cleared. You want to do your research on the company as well. And you also want to ask, the exterminator some key questions. You want to ask him, how long he's been doing this. Have you done this before? What kind of chemical are you using? What's the name of it? I might be allergic to it, because, there are some poisons that, believe it or not, that are allergic to us, that they might be harmful. What should I do, post exterminating? What should I do to prepare? If he tells you don't worry about it, it's okay, just let me come over and, I'll exterminate it for you. You definitely want to run away, because at the end of the day, you have poison inside your house. You're breathing this. Some places you'll be sleeping there 8, 9, 10 hours inhaling this stuff. And that's definitely not safe for you, for anybody, for the kids, or even for a cat or a dog. So you definitely want to ask them, what amount you're going to be using, what kind of a chemical you're going to be using, where are you going to be putting it? How are you going to, control this, my problem? You want to ask them, how long is it going to take? Is it a one visit? Is it a 2 visit? Is it a 3 visit? If it's 4 or 5 visits, run from this guy, because you should be able to handle it within your first or second visit. It's pretty much one-on-one, exterminating. If you want to, take advantage of a customer, yeah, tell them I'm going to have to come back 10 times to exterminate this. The only way I can get rid of, fleas, ticks, or whatever, roaches. Run. Run fast as you can. Run as fast as that mouse that you have in that house.
Scare you away.
Yeah. But yeah, you definitely want to ask some key questions for sure.
That is good. That's really great tips. And for those that want to use, like, they do it themselves. I mean, are there any special tips that we're talking about? Like, let's say a single mom with kids, or someone that just really is on a tight budget and they just cannot do it.
Right.
What suggestions can you give that family?
I'm trying to come up with me personally, I'm trying to come up with an idea where I'm trying to offer some free, and when I say free, I totally mean totally free, some free exterminating, some free educations to a certain amount of people. I haven't put it in effect, but I'm trying to think of something. But obviously, until then, and I'm not going to be able to reach everybody, but the tips that I can give to that single person, with 3, 4, 5 kids, whatever it is, or that doesn't have the job, or doesn't have the means to, pay for this stuff, I would definitely tell this person, or tips, I should say, that sanitation is huge. Make sure, if they tell me, what, I have my house clean, or I think it's always clean, and that's the case, I would say buy yourself a nice LED flashlight if you can, or try to borrow one, and yourself just look around, turn off the lights, keep them off, and then just look around to see how many you think you have. And you have to look for the nest when it comes to roaches. Really anything, roaches, mice, because they all are going to have a nest. As long as you find that nest, you're going to eradicate that problem from that household. And if you don't, they're coming in from somewhere, either from, if you live in a building, upstairs, downstairs, but you have to, investigate in that sense. And then they sell some pretty good, not all, but they do sell some pretty good after or over the counter, I mean, say products at your local, hardware stores, Home Depots, and things like that. I don't know if I can mention names on those, but there are some products that are good for certain things that are over the counter. Now, there are certain things that you probably are not going to be able to do because of the chemicals, or be as effective. But you can do it yourself if you really want to do it yourself and don't have the means. You have to really just get down and dirty and start looking for the nest inside the household, wherever you have the problem.
I would say,
Thank
can
you.
you name some of the brands that we should go with, or some of the ones we should avoid? Because I only use it on the exterior of the house, because I
For
don't want it.
legal,
Yeah,
Or
yeah, for legal purposes, we don't want to kind
yeah,
of put any
I
company on a,
got it. Okay.
yeah,
for
I
legal
think
purposes,
so
we
too.
don't want.
Yes, correct.
So
I
I
agree.
think that I think by some research, people that can do and all that, or maybe if they decide to reach out to you, maybe, you start
Yeah,
doing those
yeah, that's another one
educational
too. Oh
things,
yeah,
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 Get them.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
definitely.
You can text me later. I'll message you.
Okay. Oh yeah.
But it looks like we're coming up at time. I mean, we could sit here and talk hours about this.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
sure
Yes, we can. Oh my God.
our listeners would love to have you back again. But one thing that I do want to ask before we allow you to go back to work, um, any special message or anything that you want to share with our listeners, and then we would also like you to share where they can reach you. If somebody's in New York City and they want to contact you, what's the best place that they can contact you? And we will be posting it on our links and everything as well. But can you please, let us know where they can reach you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm based out of New York City. You can definitely get in contact with me. I can leave my number or say my number. Is that okay? 718. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
you
Thumbs
can
up.
see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, 718-269-8376. That's the fastest method that I answer my phone. If I don't answer it, it's because I'm literally probably have my mask on, but I try to handle and pick up every phone call because that's pretty much my marketing nowadays is this phone. But yeah, you can definitely reach me there just in case. 718-269-8376. I also didn't mention this, and I like to mention this because I'm sure you got some Spanish viewers. I do speak Spanish. I am bilingual. So if you need the services, we do speak Spanish. I speak Spanish, and we can definitely help you out as well. If you're in New York City, I go into all 5 boroughs in New York City, and I just want to leave you guys with a thought, and thank you guys for having me for sure. But use your local exterminators because it does help with your neighbors. It does help you living right. Get a little more educated. If you have a brother, or sister, an aunt, and uncle, somebody that doesn't care about roaches, or doesn't have any phobia of mice or anything, we need some more exterminators out there, some right exterminators that are educated and that want to make a difference. And that's my big thing. I want people to not look at me or other exterminators like we're like we have 2 heads or something, because they look at us like, oh my God, this guy, the exterminator's here. What's going on, or whatnot. So I want to reach out and build a little more on this career. It's a lost career. Some people don't even think of it. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'll leave you with this note. There's some exterminators that are making more money than doctors and lawyers. So I'll leave you with that thought. Okay?
I
Interesting.
think I'm going to become an exterminator now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's good money behind it. But anyways, that's not the reason, but the reason some people do look at that in that way. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me talk and share some of my stories. And I hope in the future I'm able to come back and give you some more information and more things. Okay?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I gotta go work out now to get all the cringe out.
All right.